When it comes to new construction homes, most real estate agents, there's a moment that they feel like they lose control of the transaction. And it's like when the deal starts going sideways and everybody's hair is on fire and you're trying to fight with a builder over expectations and negotiations. But that's not the control point, right? That's not when control is lost. A lot of times control is lost before the contract is ever even signed. And most of the time, agents that don't spend a lot of time in this space don't even realize it's happening. So I want to give you some insight on how to manage this the right way if you're trying to build a business around selling new construction homes. Now, before I go any further, I do want to be clear about something. When I talk about control, this is not hey, we are strong arming deals. We are throwing our weight around. We are not pressuring buyers. That's not this. That's not control. That's pressure. And if you're doing that to your buyers, quit it. You're doing a really bad job. Pressure will always, always, always backfire. And that is not what you want. I want to define this cleanly for you. Real control is when you can provide clarity. And if you can do everything you can to provide clarity for your clients, it's setting expectations for them, for you, for the lender, for everybody in the transaction. If you can understand how the builders think, and then you can help your buyers make calm, rational, thought out decisions. Because to me, control is not dominance, right? Control is not urgency. Control is simply knowing what should happen next and when it should happen and how you allow people to get to that decision, right? I always look at this. I tell my buyers all the time, my job is perspective. My job is to give you as much information as I possibly can to help you make a most informed decision or the best informed decision possible for your next step. I don't have to live in your house. I don't have to pay your bills. I just have to give you as much perspective as I can. And so my job is to gather information and to give that back to them in a way that they understand and that is critical for their moving timeline. Now, I will be honest, there are times that dealing in new homes can feel like a car crash or whiplash or whatever you want to call it, right? Like you get this moment where you're like, oh, the incentives change. And it's like, oh, it was this today. And then like at the end of the day, it was that. Or you're working on a deal and you think you have it done, but then all of a sudden somebody swoops in with a floor pop with the builder rep. And it's like, oh, that house we were buying is gone, right? Pricing shifts, incentives change, timelines change, like hey, we can do this, but now we can do this. There's so many different things and all of these builders move super, super fast. And if you're not on top of it, it can throw you for a loop, right? And this is the kind of the moment when your business starts to feel reactive and not proactive. And if it does feel reactive at any point, you have a challenge point upstream. So this is where we kind of have to step back and say, hey, what can we do to figure out what we need to fix upstream so that we can deal with this when it happens? Because it's not if it happens, it's when it happens. And hopefully we have the preparation in place to pivot and understand how to help our people. So the first leak that we get to, I think I've got 4 different leaks in our business as we're working through this as agents. So the first leak is a misreading or a misunderstanding of builder signals, right? So this is incentives, this is rate buy downs, this is closing costs, price reductions, all of those things, right? Again, these you have to understand if you're going to play in this space. Incentives are not generosity, right? Like this is not just the kindness of their heart. They're trying to sell homes, right? This is their response to their risk and their velocity assessment that they understand in their neighborhood. This is not just because they want to be kind. They want to sell homes, they want to make money, and their incentives and the things that they do in the market are a direct reflection of that belief, right? And if you don't understand that, you can't articulate that to your buyers. So yes, we want them to go get as many incentives as we can. We want them to get as many price reductions as they can, but you have to be the one that understands when and how and why they move. And this comes from just time, honestly, time in the saddle, taking reps, taking hits, like asking those questions and learning from the builders. So like if you can understand this part and be like, oh, hey, we're at the end of a quarter, or hey, they did this rate promo and they're running out of money on that. And the market is shifting here, or they're opening up a new neighborhood here. Like if you can start to understand those things, the changes when they come, they don't feel like a surprise. And if they don't feel like a surprise to you, then they're not a surprise to your clients. And I think the biggest piece of all of this, I used to hear one of the guys I used to work for. So before I was in real estate, I worked in ministry. I spent a decade with students and loved them. And one of the pastors I worked for used to talk about this principle of leadership. And I think it's true when we look at how we lead people and we build our business on new construction. It's this idea of if whatever we want our people to do, we have to be willing to do the one step in front of them, right? So if our people are going to crawl, we have to walk. If we want our people to walk, we have to be able to run. If we want our people to run, we have to be, as the leader, we have to be willing to sprint, and they will follow after us. So this is where we understand those signals and we understand them upstream, and it's a sprint so that we can help our people run. Number two, the thing that leaks in terms of control is we let timing of the process or the transaction go unframed, right? So our buyers think we have all of this time, and then all of a sudden somebody else swoops in, or you're in a build and you're like, oh, this is only going to take 4 months, and it really takes 8, and they have a home to sell on the back end, right? What we don't want to do is we don't want to let them hesitate. We want to give them, again, as much information as we can to help them not hesitate. And then what you don't want to also do is so many times we try to accommodate, but we don't give context, right? So hey, yeah, we can do this, but let's give context to why this is happening. Or hey, the builders, this is their schedule. Well, this is the context of what's going on, right? And I feel like at times it comes down to this idea of we don't want the builder interpreting our hesitation as risk. We want, again, of course, we're not pushing, we're not being direct and saying, oh, you got to do this, you got to do this. But we also need to keep our people kind of moving down this path of hey, we found the home, we're negotiating the deal. When it happens, you're going to sign the contract. It's this managed expectations. We don't want them interpreting our movements as risk, because then it could potentially hurt the deal down the road, right? When I got started creating content for my business, I didn't know what I needed. I wish somebody would have put this together for me. So what I did is I built a living document that tracks all of the gear that we use in our business, whether from our desk setup to our vlog setup, our drones, our cameras, everything you need. It's right on that list. So either scan the QR code or click the link in the description, and we will get you hooked up with that gear list so that you can start building a content library to help you crush it in real estate. Number three is this idea so we lose control when education happens too late. This is where we become super reactive, right? And this is our response to our infrastructure. When we're touring houses, tours become educational, and then the decisions happen under pressure, and then you have to feel like you explain everything live. And this is where I kind of go back to, it's so important. I feel like if you're going to be in this space and you're going to help buyers in new homes, you have to have a solid education pipeline, right? If your education starts at the model home, then your control is already gone. And this is why I've tried so hard to build my business on content and build my business on things that will help our buyers, to give them as much education and context ahead of time as we can. Now, this is one thing that I feel like we're always refining. This is as I'm working through my processes, it's oh, hey, we need a video for this, or we need an email that says, hey, we went under, or you're going to go look at this. And it's just a expansive thing. And this is the point where we go from working in our business to working on our business. And I think a lot of agents struggle to get to that place, myself included, right? We get so wrapped up in all the deals that we're doing and this call and that call and shooting this model home. And it's if we could just take a step back and start educating earlier, A, it will help us attract better buyers, but B, it will help them feel like they're better prepared, so that when they do call, we're not trying to give them all the information, standing in the model home, talking back and forth to the sales rep. So you have to start your education pieces earlier, and people need more than you realize, right? Your job is to give them as much information in a way that they can understand, to prep them to be ready to go, right? I genuinely want our people, when they find me, it's hey, I want to give you as much as I can, because everybody's trying to gatekeep something, and I don't want to gatekeep it, right? I just want to be the person that says, this is how we do this, and make this make sense. And if I can make it make sense, you're going to want to work with me. You're going to want that representation. You're going to want, because I'm so much more than just oh yeah, I can point you to a model home. You're hiring an expert in this space, and this is what I'm trying to get you to become. This is what we're working on. So education happens too late. You got to put more content out, and you got to get in the space of putting out more things to help your people win and win well. Number four, and this is probably the hardest one. And this kind of goes back to number three, where it's talking about where we're working in our business versus working on our business, is everything lives up here, and it can't do that. You have to be able to build out systems to capture intel on builders, to know, hey, these are the models, these are the floor plans, these are the tax rates, these are the HOAs, this is the school districts. Like you have to, again, you're no reusable explanations, and every deal that you put together, like, oh, this is exciting. And then it feels super heavy, right? If your business only works while you're present, you do not have control. You have chaos. And this is I've lived this experience. I know what it's like to run 60 or 70 deals a year and be like, oh my gosh, my head is spinning trying to get all of these things out. And now we're trying to systematize so that when buyers come through, it is a very streamlined experience, right? This is any real estate business, but especially new construction where inventory is constantly changing, models and communities and sales reps are popping up left and right. You have to take some time to kind of start working through your systems so that everything works. I mean, I don't know how else to say that. Like you just have to work through it so that everything works, right? When you can start to figure these things out and you can take back control earlier in the transaction, then you're never going to lose. Like the fires are going to happen. You're like, okay, yeah, this is what we do. Hey, we're going to deal with this. And this is the expectation. And when you present calm, it will help you keep things moving together, right? Your buyers feel calm. They don't feel rushed. They feel like it was a great experience. When expectations change, they're not shocked because you already have a play in place, right? The decisions that you make and that they make, they all feel intentional. And then when this is present, like when your control is present, nobody feels pressured. The builder doesn't feel pressured. You don't feel pressured. Your buyers don't feel pressured. And I think this is the hardest thing to try and figure out. And this is kind of why we're building this channel and why we're doing this is because I'm figuring this out in real time as we lean into the new construction market and sell basically exclusively that here in DFW. And I'm trying to help you lean into the same thing, right? Everyone has these leaks or these holes that they're trying to fill in their business. And when you can understand that and move yourself backwards, then you can start to fill them in before they happen, right? Understanding your builders, prepping your buyers, and capturing knowledge is what keeps your control intact to what allows you to be successful in this space of selling new homes. This is how you reinforce this with your people, right? I want to continue to break this down. I want to continue to talk about, hey, the importance of making content, what kind of content we should be making, but also the very practical things of how we move through selling, like going from being potentially full resale and doing listings to getting to the space that I'm in where it's like, all I do is new homes. Like I don't do anything resale. I don't do anything on the listing side, exclusively new homes in a market where we have tons of opportunity. And even if you have a market where you're like, hey, we don't have that much opportunity, this is something you could potentially do. And you learn how to differentiate yourself and be that expert to help your people. So if you're interested in growing with us, join us on this journey, subscribe. If you have questions, as always, leave them down in the comments. Again, I don't have it all figured out, but we're trying to help and be a resource where we can. And I want to continue to break these things down as we build our business so that we can sprint and help as many people as possible buy brand new homes. So appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the next one.